Welcome to Success Kings. I'm your host, Sal, where we talk about everything to do with success. And here's my co-host, Eddie Santos. Today, we're going to get right into it. We're going to talk about marketing, and more marketing. So let's take it from there. We're going to focus on the industry that I'm in. I'm a business owner, as you all know, in the HVAC and plumbing space. You know, we've had a lot of unique challenges in 2024. Eddie, you want to share what's going on in the industry, in our industry right now?
Yeah, definitely. Like you mentioned. So a little bit about myself: 10 years of experience in the digital marketing. So one of the challenges that we are facing in 2024 is the high cost of lead acquisitions. Have you faced that so far in your business?
Yeah, I mean, ever since 2020, COVID, it's just been going up and up and up. I mean, 2020 was an election year. That didn't really help. We're getting right back into another election year. So this year, I mean, we are seeing our marketing costs astronomically high. Last year, you know, for the same amount of spend, we were making about double the revenue. This year so far, we're making about half of that revenue. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the way the market is saturated. What would you say, Eddie?
No, and I agree with you. I mean, right now there's a lot of crazy companies that are coming in. They're not even seeing the cost of acquisition. They're just dumping money, and that, I mean, I guess they're hoping that that's going to move the needle, but in reality, it's just creating a lot more work in the office, following up those customers, sending our sales guys. So it is affecting our numbers. But what do you think of the
Yeah, I mean,
companies?
I mean, I think like new companies coming into this space. I mean, I was there at one point as well, and they just don't understand the cost of doing business. They don't really have a real firm idea of what they need to be charging. I mean, that has something to do with what is going on in the industry, but I think that if you have, you increase your internal marketing, and you can increase your external marketing in the right way. I think that you can make it a bigger impact. You know, Companies that really have their marketing down, their branding down. I mean, they kind of set aside the other companies that aren't doing that into the background, and they're able to win more business, have higher revenue, probably lower acquisition costs than, let's say, somebody that's not really focused on internal marketing and external marketing. I mean, for us, I mean, we've increased our internal marketing with our branding, new website, getting the office space branded out. Also, our external marketing. I mean, just really dialing that in, knowing what really works for you and what doesn't in any given time or day. Can have a big factor on bringing, the acquisition costs.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, on internal and external? I guess a lot of companies or a lot of people out there, they're new to the space, don't really understand that. What would you classify as an internal marketing and also as an external marketing, and how's that
I mean,
different?
I mean, internal marketing is like, could be even just your management or or the owner talking to the employees that work there, and you letting them know what the company stands for, what the core values are, what are we all doing here? What is our purpose? Where we want to where do we want to see our staff, where they are today and where we want them to be tomorrow. I mean, all of that is really marketing internally to the people that are most important to the company, and that's your staff.
And how do you doing that? I mean, are you targeting for that? What are you looking for that type of people? I mean, I'm pretty sure you're looking for A players, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I want to say there's a lot of companies out there that they just can't afford A players. They can't afford to have that, but that's okay, because you could take your B player and turn them into a B plus. You could take your C plus player and turn them into a B plus player. You can develop them through marketing internally to them and having them buy into your vision.
Hmm.
What you're trying to accomplish.
So once you have set up
I think like in the home services space, I mean, we are lacking that at a very, very high degree. I mean, I don't think the companies, I mean, the ownership or management feel like, look, I have this brand, I have this name, I have this Google listing, I have this, I have that, and then there's just like, that's it. But it's more, it's really more, a lot more to it than just that.
and you've been doing this for about 10 years, right? I remember I met you.
Yeah, but almost 11 years. Yeah.
So things have changed from the way, we were doing internal marketing before and now is it still the
Oh,
same?
for
It's
sure.
the same
Oh,
game.
for sure. I mean, and, just talking to bringing them into the meeting, huddles, and just keep drilling it into them, core values of the company. We have at Service All Stars, we have 5 different core values. We got service, reliability, quality, value, and integrity. So that at all costs, we must never ever compromise those core values, and we're constantly marketing that to our internal staff, so that when the external, when they're reaching our external clients, they're embodying those core values in everything they do.
And when you're talking about external, are you talking about your PPC, your LSA? Is that what you're referring to? And how can you compete with the private money
Well, I think, I mean,
in the space?
you got to take it back to the grassroots levels if you want to compete with them. You might have to go door to door, whatever it takes. But I think that marketing is a big blanket. It's not nothing in any company that should be isolated. It's like an overlaying or underlaying factor in every single department. It transcends. It should transcend every aspect of your business. To where the way your trucks pull up to the house, the way they come out of the house, the way they may have a welcome mat that they put on the front door with the company logo on it. I mean, there's so many different aspects of external marketing. It's not just, again, a lot of mom and pop shops, they look for or small businesses, they look for the low-lying fruit when it comes to marketing. They want to do the, PPC, they want to do the LSA, Yelp, Angie's, whatever areas they're getting their leads from, or lead generation. But that's just really just the surface, because when we start competing, we got to dig a lot deeper than just having to be focused on these surface level venues that really any Joe Schmo can get access to. It doesn't really set you apart from anything.
Okay. And so now that you see 2024 versus 2023, what do you think the year is going to look like? I mean, right now we finished Q1. I mean, by the time this is going to air, but now we have Q2, Q3. So how are we going to maximize, or how is it that companies are going to maximize the opportunity so that way they don't slow down dramatically?
That's a really good question. I think that you're in the plumbing and HVAC or home services space in general. I mean, you got your technician in the house. They got to be talking about more than what they're there for. They can't be. You can't have a bunch of shy guys in there. Not willing to open their mouth and really get fed. I'm a firm believer. A closed mouth never gets fed. You got to open your mouth. You got to get in there. You got to talk about what you're immediately there for. But if you see something that's not right in the house, hey, you got to mention it. We get calls all the time where people say, $77, water heater flush, right? Like, oh yeah, but your guy's gonna come over and then they're gonna tell me about this, and I need to do that, and that. So this is my response to them. Hey, look, our technicians are very friendly. They're gonna come to your house and they're gonna check the water heater. But let me ask you a question. How would you like it if your friend saw you with, 4 ball tires, or saw your house, a leak or something in your house, and didn't tell you about it? How would you feel about that, right? Then later on you'd say, hey, well, he saw that. Why didn't he tell me about that, right? Now,
Okay.
I mean, the option to buy and change things that's up to the client. But we're
Hmm.
definitely going to let you know what's good and what's bad and what needs to be fixed. Like that's just who we are as a reputable company. I mean, we're not gonna just what can help you out. What can make a difference in your family's life.
Plumbing, oh, man. So can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, I know you guys started as an HVAC company. How is it that you transition into plumbing? And I've seen this trend. I've seen a lot of plumbing companies trying to get into the HVAC space. Some of them are successful, some of them fail miserably at it. What is it that you're doing to set yourself apart so that way you can actually make some revenue out of the plumbing? And what's the long term?
I mean, the long term is to really, again, it goes right back to what we were just talking about. You can't be a one trick pony. That's just clear. I mean, has the HVAC market taken a hit? Of course it has. But you know what? People always got to shower and they always got to use the bathroom. They always need water. And that's the fact of life. Do they need an air conditioning system? I mean, depending on what part of the country you live in, they might not need one. So you got to have a good. I think the companies that are going to survive are going to have a good mix.
A good mix.
They're going to have they're going to have a good mix of both, or maybe even a third trade. Maybe they're going to have electrical. Maybe they're going to have roofing. Solar. I mean, I know some companies have tried that, but definitely you have to build your brand to retain clients, and that's another thing, right? If you give them a good experience, you're going to retain that client. If you don't give them good buying experience, and they don't feel good at the end of their purchase, guess what? They're not going to come back, and
Exactly.
and that's just it. So build your brand. Let people know what you stand for. The other thing business owners are failing to do is they're not tracking. They're just not tracking their marketing the way they should be. A lot of them don't really know where their dollars are going and what's. I know you helped us out a lot, Eddie, in getting that all dialed in. So another part is implement AI to help you track. Right? I
AI.
mean,
Wow.
how do you feel about that?
So are you guys, well, I know a lot of companies are getting into the AI and AI is really big, but can you tell me how you've been able to apply, I mean,
Well, I mean, how do you
transition
feel
into the
about
AI?
AI?
I love the idea of AI. I mean, look, one thing, you cannot control humans. And I guess let me rephrase that. When you have a system, the only setback is the human behavior, I guess, because it's something that cannot be predictable. AI is something that could be set up and it's going to be consistent. So I think that if you really apply AI, a lot of things could change. I mean, come on, have you ever gone and asked for a drive-through? There's AI are now taking your orders.
Hmm.
So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a time where AI is going to replace not completely the CSR, but it's going to
It's going to augment.
exactly. It's going to be able to
Hmm.
help it. It's like after hours. I mean, we have problems having consistency on somebody answering the phone, but now if you have an AI that you can train, and I guess that's just the challenge, the training aspect of it. I know that you guys are using some of the top apps out there. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, on how that has transitioned your company into another tier? I guess.
Well, we're definitely, a shop that's on Service Titan, and we, really appreciate what Service Titan has done for the industry at large. But I think there's a lot of fresh faces coming up in the industry that are using software and AI together and bringing into the home services industry. I mean, I was in Miami and I got to talk to some really young entrepreneurs, and their feedback to me was that home services, the tech industry is very, very interested in home services because it's one of the last frontiers for technology, right? It's one of the last untouched industries, really, when it comes to technology. I mean, you name an industry, and tech has just deeply infiltrated it, but home services just happens to be, one of the last areas where it really hasn't. And so, these tech entrepreneurs, these, angel investors, venture capitalists, whatever you want to call them, they're very interested in funding or investing in companies that are enhancing home services with AI. I think like the client buying behaviors has really changed throughout the years when it comes to when it comes to just buying in general, right? I mean, here we're 4 years after COVID, and it's yeah, a whole new generation is now coming up and actually buying, and a lot of them are used to buying, are going to be used to buying AI with AI. So
Has AI added a little bit more work in the back end? And I'm talking about the technicians, the CSR. How do you think they're taking this? Because now it's just adding more layers to what they're already doing. So it's not a straightforward answer the phone, dispatch the customer. I'm guessing now you bring in AI so that way you can increase production. Is that the main idea?
I think it's increased production, but I think more so is tracking quality, right? So making sure that the brand stays cohesive with what are the core values of the company. Than rather, if you didn't have something like that, I mean, how do you really know what your technician is saying, what your technician is doing? I mean, a friend of mine who's an HVAC is in HVAC sales. He said that a lot of these technicians are turning over, but they're really not understanding how to turn over. They're just really throwing a Hail Mary, and hopefully, the sales guy catches it. So you got to really have a trustworthy person out there. But with AI, AI is that trustworthy person, right? I mean, it is the benchmark setter. So there's different tools out there that can help you monitor the brand as a high level executive or a business owner, and really help to make sure that the brand image stays in line. I think it's very important for all companies, but I think it's very important for a company that's building a brand, because how do you know what direction you're building your brand? Everybody says, oh, build a brand, build a brand. But okay, I'm going to build a brand, but how do I know it's going in the right direction, right?
Got it.
So AI is helping to keep track of that for you, make it more convenient, more easy. I mean, look, you know, now even your searches are enhanced with AI. I don't know if you've seen that
That
on
is true.
on
Yeah,
on, on
yeah.
Google, right?
Go to
So
Google, try to make
and how
something
many
crazy.
and how many of your buyers are your clients searching? How many search before they buy? Well, I did some research. So 65% of home remodeling clients, they do a search before they buy.
Wait, let me stop you. You said 65%? That's a big number.
65%, yeah. 64% of appliance repair search, do a search before they buy. 62% of HVAC repair, do a search before they buy. 58% for electrical, 54% for plumbing. So what exactly is it that they're searching for?
Exactly. They're looking for a price, or they're looking for a company they can trust. What
There
is
you
it?
go. They're actually looking for trust. They're searching for trust. Okay.
And how do you build that trust
I mean,
online?
I mean, you have to have a brand personality. You have to have somebody there that represents your brand, right? They're looking for that. I mean,
I want to talk a little bit about that branding, because I know you went through a lot in the last maybe 6 months, rebranding the company. And I know a lot of people get to the point where, like, okay, it's time now. I have. Have you seen an increase on your sales, or what is it that has what was it that took you there to make the change? Because it's not cheap, and I know you got it done through a very good company. I don't
I
know if you
I
want to
think
share.
I think I think there's the ebbs and flows of the business. You get to a certain level. I think every company, whether it be 2 million, 4 million, 7 million, 10 million, every company has a plateau. You know, once they plateau, then what do you do, right? Where do you go from there? Do you just die off, or do you keep growing? Well, if you want to keep growing, you have to make changes, right? Because you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, you know. So you gotta change, you know. You gotta understand what is happening inside of your industry, you know, which is our industry. I know it's, and I'm sure other industries as well. Just they move so fast. I mean, business, the speed of business is just increasing faster and faster and faster. So it's like, how do you keep up with that, right? I mean, at most you should know is that, you know, what makes your client take action, right? And part of that is that the modern consumer is actively seeking a personality as part of the brand, right? They want to know about you, your company, and what they stand for, right? They want to be able to scrape you something about you on a website, on social media, or otherwise to try to find it. You know, they want you to be consistent in that, right? And so now you're building this brand, and you should have a brand personality as well. And based on how they feel about that, you know, they're going to make their next move. You know,
So would you recommend?
based on what they find.
So would you recommend someone to rebrand if they feel that they already reached that plateau and now they want to get into it? I just want to understand because there's a lot of confusion on that. Was the rebranding also part of the plumbing, or it was a whole package when you did it? Okay, now I'm rebranding.
I mean, we always did. I mean, just, you know, to talk about that. I mean, we always did plumbing. We're just getting a lot more deeper in plumbing. I mean, it was part of our name for some years, but we're just expanding on that. You know, we're expanding on it. But you know, getting back to these clients and the marketing and everything else. You know, what exactly you know, your clients are buying for right now. There's, you know, probably about three different main reasons why clients buy, right? They're either buying for convenience, quality, or price, right? So those are the three that they're going to buy for. Where do you fit in? What are you marketing? Where are you marketing for? What are you know, I mean, then you have the fourth customer that's looking for that nexus point of all three, right? Where he's getting great quality, great price, and he's getting you know, great convenience, and that's all packaged into the service. And I think that company can probably win more business than, you know, maybe the other ones.
So if I get it right, so basically marketing, marketing, marketing. That's where the advantage is, right? I mean, if you get it right, your digital marketing, like you said it yourself, the internal and external, and that's something a little bit new for me when it comes down to the internal, because we don't really focus on that. We always focus on one more, put it to the table. But what is it that we're doing with the customers that we already have?
Right.
It's something I want to touch on the marketing side of it. Technology. What is the technology that it's helping you have that edge over the other companies? What is the technology?
For me,
Yeah, for I mean for the
I just love technology, you know. I mean, you know, I feel like everything should have technology behind it. I mean,
but let me
like
ask.
I'm from the generation where, you know, we weren't born with the computer, but we brought the computer, you know, into the house. You know, I mean, I was there when the internet came about. You know, I remember those. I was a teenager. So for me, ever since then, it's just been like, you know, technology just makes it even more exciting, and that's really just how I feel. I mean, I don't think there's anybody on this planet, and I could be mistaken, but that
I mean,
goes a day without having some kind of
yeah,
technology.
and the reason why I was asking you is because yeah, you also mentioned service tighting. So service tighting is a beautiful platform, nice. You could pull reports and all that, but it's also very complicated when it comes down to setup and all that. What do you recommend to someone that doesn't have those skills? I mean, because in my experience, there's three type of people that started their business. It was either the installer that did good, it was either the technician, or it was the sales guy. They did good, they started their own business. But sometimes they don't even have half of what you know your skills when it comes down to technology. So if technology is important to get your marketing right, what do you tell those people? I mean, like, stay away from platforms that are too complex, or hire someone to get it done for you. What's the answer? I mean, what have you done?
Um, what would be my answer to these people? I mean,
Yeah, to the people that are looking for a solution. I mean, because I'm pretty sure a lot of the people that
you
are
got to
watching
really
this.
find out what works for you. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, this doesn't make sense for you. You know, you can't duplicate what I'm doing to the T. I mean, you got to really go and try what works for you because there's so many. You know, yeah, there's technology out there, but then there's the human aspect of driving it. Like we failed a lot in terms of using technology, like Service Type Marketing Pro, right? I mean, you got to have somebody that mans that module, same with the inventory module. I mean, I think you were telling me the other day that, most people get service tight and they're only using like 30% of it, right?
True.
So it's, well, what good is that? If you're just using the calendar, if you're just using the dispatch board, what good does that really doing you, So it may not be worth it for you to be on service tight unless you can kind of grow into it. For us, I think we're using a great deal of it. I don't think we're using 100% of it, but I love the way it's easily to be accessible. You can get client data on the fly wherever you're at. You can make phone calls out of it. I mean, we have all our phone system running through it. A lot of people don't like that part of it, right? But I mean, we haven't had any issues with it, and so that's just it. But you know, there are you know and again, having all that inside of your company can also help you with your internal marketing because you see, I mean, does a technician want to work for a company that is going to give them a phone and an iPad, or they want to work for a company that's not going to, like you said, hey, can you get A players? But it's like, what do you have to offer these A players, right?
I agree with
If
you.
you're not giving them a phone and an iPad and a nice truck wrapped, I mean, why would the A player come and work for you?
You'll be surprised. There's a lot of companies out there that are still doing pen and paper, and I'm surprised. But they're still doing it. So yeah, you're right. There's a lot of things that might work for you as as an HVAC company, plumbing of a certain size that might not work for other companies.
They are, but then you got to also understand, like, what's the lifeline of a contracting company, right? It's about a year and a half. Why? Because they might be making that kind of money, right? They may be making that kind of revenue, but for how long?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think Drake said, I'm not here for a long time, but I'm here for a good time, right? Well, I mean, I might not be here for a good time, but I want to be here for a long time. There are some pain points that I wanted to go over with people, companies and their marketing. I think they have a lack of digital brand accessibility. So these are the things that a client will look for in order to do business with you. Is your brand digital? Is it accessible? Are you transparent in your pricing? Are you available for service? And this is there speed of service as well, right? I mean, if you're going to mail somebody an invoice rather than just say, "Hey, here's your email paid invoice," you're done. Hey, can you sign right here?
Man,
Can
this
can
game
you?
is changing
Oh
crazy.
yeah, yeah. I mean, can my technician run a credit card payment right then and there without having to call a bunch of people, right? I mean, all of that is speed of service, and that's what clients want. That's what they want to pay for. 83% of consumers say they need a positive experience to stay loyal, right? And 82% said if they don't have a positive experience, that they're going to switch to another service provider. So, what are you now? What are you actually doing to provide that positive experience, right? That goes right back into marketing. Are you marketing a positive experience to the clients?
And that goes to the internal, right, on how your staff is treated. So that's the same way they're going to treat your external customers, I guess
Right,
you can call them that.
right. So what is it that, I mean, what is it you're doing to wow them, right?
You're talking about the customers at this point,
Yeah, the
right?
customer. Like, what are you doing to wow them? Or Are your techs leaving them better off before they came? You know, or are you giving them a memorable experience to where they're like, you know what, next time there's an issue, I'm going to call Service All Stars, right?
Nice.
It's amazing. I mean, in the last few years, for me, I've had more repeat business than ever before. You know,
What do
and
you
I
think that
think,
is?
well, I think that's just it. I think we're doing a great job at, just giving clients that level of satisfaction where they're just like, you know what, man, I'm going to keep calling these guys back. I mean, our membership renewals show it. We're definitely moving in a positive direction. I mean, it's kind of at an awkward time because HVAC is just taken such a beating this year and even late last year, and I think if the we're getting a little bit off topic, but if the interest rates fall, I think that we can possibly see some kind of little bit more traction on the HVAC side. I think that, I mean, I was talking to somebody in Georgia and they were like, they could get a unit for $7,000, $8,000. I mean,
$7,000.
$7,000, $8,000
How's that compared to the
installed.
market in California?
I mean, we were talking about double that
Mm.
almost. But you know, then I say, hey, when was anything in California cheap?
Yeah.
When was anything in California not different than the rest of the country, right? I
We
mean,
pay
we
taxes for
got
everything.
we got fast food workers now making $20 an hour, and if you think that's not going to change your pricing, like you're just kidding yourself, right? Because now you can't pay an apprentice to come in at $20 an hour to go run around in an attic or a crawl space in 140-degree weather,
Hmm.
right?
I
I
agree.
mean, they're gonna want it doesn't make sense. They could go stand behind a grill, flip some burgers for $20 an hour.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So there's big changes. I mean, coming around the corner. I think contractors need to really be engaged in contractor communities to really understand, like, hey, what are they doing
What do you mean by communities?
in marketing their business? And I
Mhm.
think that needs to, and maybe you can use some type of feedback from those communities to help you grow your business, or if not grow, but at least stabilize. Because some of us don't want to grow our business.
And what do you do to get your insights? Because it seems to me like you are in this a lot. I mean, you have a lot of knowledge. What do you do to keep up to date? You're talking about networks. What kind of networks, or what do they do? I mean, what's the benefit of that?
Um, there's a lot of support. There's best practices. I think a lot
Mm.
of them. If you new to this business, I mean, how do you know what the best practices have been in this industry,
So
right?
just kind of look for the ones that already have done it, and learn from them, and
Correct.
build
Correct.
yourself. Okay, nice.
Right. I mean, always think about yourself as a consumer. What would you do, right? I mean, there's so many different situations that occur, like, hey, yeah, I don't feel like cooking today, but we're gonna go out and eat, right?
Hmm.
You know, oh, I just heard about this new car that came out, and what are you gonna do next, right?
Hmm.
So what are they gonna do next? They're gonna go online,
Hmm.
right? They want food, but they know they don't want to cook, but they need to eat food, right? So what's their next step? They're gonna go search online, right? So you gotta really get in tune with that. Your SEO. I mean, for years we didn't do. I know it's crazy, but we didn't do SEO for years, and lately, the last few years we've got back into it. But that's a huge challenge too,
I want, I
right?
want to ask you. I want to ask you about the SEO.
There's
What do you think about that? I mean, it's something new. I mean, Google is coming up with a lot of changes, and it goes back to AI.
hmm
How do you stand out from other companies that are doing the same thing that we are? I mean, before writing copy was very hard. You had to hire somebody and have it done for you. But now, since all the companies are doing the same thing, what do you think is going to set us apart from them? I mean, what's going to move the needle for the SEO to actually work? It's SEO still something that works for
Oh, for
companies?
sure. I mean, again, it goes back to building your brand, building that digital personality, being out there. You got this. company. He's got a nice name. He might have a nice logo, but how are you gonna put that out there on a digital billboard, right? How are you gonna get that message out to the clients? It's just super important, and to get that done, I mean, you got to keep learning. You got to learn how to serve your customers at a higher level, right? You got to really streamline business as well. You know, as far as the marketing aspect. I mean, I think for a business owner these days is like you have to keep creating content. You just have to keep creating content. I don't think
Unique content, by the way.
unique content, right? I mean, and that's just it. Like, there's never, you can never have enough content, and that's just what it is these days.
Can you elaborate a
And
little bit more on what content is? Because a lot of people don't really understand what that means. I mean, and
content
it's very
is
simple.
content is really what we're creating today, right here. What I mean, the purpose of this podcast is, yes, to give the viewers insight into what just a great conversation. We're going to have some interviews in here from other successful entrepreneurs that are more successful than me, and we hope to keep providing you guys with better and better content with every single episode. But that's what content is, and I mean, and that's why and the other reason for this podcast is just that, right? I mean, I'm wanting to build my digital brand,
Oh, okay, there you go.
or my digital personality rather.
And how do you find the right company when it comes down to SEO? There's a lot of clowns out there that, man, because they got lucky, they grew so fast. But when it comes down to delivering, it's just blah 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 things that don't really make any sense. How do you find those?
You gotta have weekly meetings with them. You gotta work them. Don't set it and forget it.
You said it right.
There's no such thing as set it and forget it. If you set it and forget your marketing is gonna forget you. You gotta be on it. Be on it. But that's all we got for today, folks. I want to thank Eddie for being here with me, and we hope to see you next time.
Thank you.
So I wanted to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm very excited. I'm trying to make some meaningful content that you guys can, enjoy and benefit from. This is our third podcast. We're barely getting started, but we definitely appreciate all your subscriptions. So if you can go ahead and click the link below, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you.